Radiant team ban. DK's turn to ban. Radiant team ban. DK's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. DK's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Welcome back everybody to our third game for StarLadder China. We're on the final day of the group stage. It's do or die time for some of these teams. We've got DK up against Newbee. For DK, they've clinched their spot in the playoffs one way or another. They're at least going to get third or fourth place. They could get second place with a win here behind G. And we're going to see Newbee in a position where they want to win and clinch that second spot in the Chinese group stage. But I'm not alone for this match. For those of you who don't know him, I'm going to be joined by the man who's known as Skip. And how are you doing, Skip?
Doing very well. I'm really looking forward to this game. But like you said, there's this weird situation that if DK, no matter what happens, DK are through, and that means that, and I mean, I hate to bring this up, but if DK intentionally lost this game, then they could remove Vici Gaming's chances in this competition. It's a bit weird, right? Because if they lose this game, then they force a three-way tie if Vici win.
Gotcha.
But in the three-way tie, Vici Gaming get booted out because of the records. DK beat LGD and Vici, and LGD beat Vici, right? So I doubt it will happen. I'm sure that DK
I wasn't
will
sure
play
which
seriously.
way around, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Like, DK,
But yeah.
and definitely not going to throw this game away, but Vici Gaming has been the toughest opponent for DK over the last few weeks in China. So, I mean, not to say they're going to try and knock them out, but
5 seconds.
It's odd that they can knock them out by losing. Yeah. But anyway, it's something to keep in mind regardless. But I'm really excited.
I'm sure they would rather go to StarLadder Land. Yeah, I'm sure they'd rather go to StarLadder Land Finals with Vici Gaming and like have best teams represent China rather than do some sneaky little plays.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch Newbee play, honestly, because I feel like they arrived on the scene. They had a bit of a disappointing performance in Cena Cup, and I think at that point a lot of people immediately wrote them off. You know, as a team, as the new dream team. So I think their recent performance has been a lot more convincing.
Yeah, they've done well in StarLadder. They haven't been dominating, but they've kind of won matches that they mostly should. They've beaten some of the other top teams. They've also had some kind of weak performances as well. So it's gone a bit both ways, but definitely had some solid games.
10 seconds
all in all, and I'd say it's a big step up from the losses in Cena Cup. And Cena Cup, there was like very early new days for them, so they're still trying to find themselves as a team, and that's where I don't think you can look at that tournament and say, hey,
Reserve
I mean,
time.
Newbee's already a big disappointment. Like they've got a lot of talent, and to me, like they are going to be definitely a top contender in the Chinese scene.
Well, I think it's funny to say that it's early days for them as a team, because this is what, 4/5 of TI3's
Yeah.
Tongfu made a
DK's
pretty deep
turn
run in
to
the
ban.
competition. So
Yeah, I just tweeted we're going live. DK Dota versus Tongbee.
Tongfu, yeah,
Basically,
exactly. It's
they're
minus
Tongbi.
Sansheng plus Zhao 8, right? That's the only difference.
Yeah,
10
this is
seconds
almost
remaining.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost the identical roster. Zhao 8's definitely
5
a step up
seconds
because that's kind of
remaining.
where that Tonka team was really solid. They won the Dota 2 Super League, beating DK like 3-0
Reserve
DK in the Dota 2 Super League. So they could be land tournaments, but Zhao 8 like that. They never had kind of stopped them going. Next to in theory, this team should be able to outperform pretty. To me, the biggest weak with this landing is Big just not been playing that well, and he was kind of the standout player back when Tongfu was dominating.
Yeah, I think the big thing that
Radiant
Tongfu had
team
going
pick.
as well at that point was their team coordination was just amazing. It was really, really up there, you know, as far as any team in the world. And I think you were right that the one thing that let them down a little bit might have been the captaincy here and there. I don't want to say, you know, anything too harsh, just because honestly I don't remember it all that well, but I think that was my impression of them back then. So yeah, hopefully as they get, you know, that
10
really get that
seconds
coordination back on track as far as team fights are concerned, I think they're definitely a force to be reckoned with.
DK's turn to pick.
Alrighty, well, we'll get ourselves into this draft. You guys
Radiant
are on the
team
stream have
pick.
been seeing a bit of it, and it's going to be DK on the dire side, straight into a centaur pick. They've been really prioritizing this as far as an offlane hero for Ice, so it's kind of up there with the nature's Prophet for them. Prophet getting ignored this game, and they go for the centaur instead, and he pick as well. Interesting selection by DK. It sort of suits their style of space.
Yeah, they run the Wisp quite a
10
bit,
seconds
actually.
remaining.
They're very successful with it. I don't know if I've seen them run Lifestealer Wisp
seconds
so much
remaining.
of late. I feel like what we've mainly been seeing DK do with the Wisp is the Gyrocopter Wisp,
Reserve
often on the
time.
dire side. MMY sits there, gets up a whole bunch of
DK's
stacks,
turn to
Burning
ban.
farms them up, and they go from there. And they probably got some absurd win rate with Wisp, if I had to guess off the top of my head. So it looks like DK are taking this pretty seriously.
I still remember them doing a empty club, but it's just a many
10
watch. And
seconds remaining.
they're just winning games left and with it. This time around, they get a move
5
storm.
seconds
30%
remaining.
so very on the draft. Got draft into. I think well, not much draft, but they just had to go from last weekend.
Reserve
Invoker
time.
and Mushi had to play the Centaur. That game didn't go that well for DK. So they make sure they get Mushi a hero that he's going to be playing in the mid lane
Radiant
with the Storm
team
Spirit.
ban.
And then you've got your Storm Spirit plus Lifestealer synergy as well coming into play.
It's funny when you're calling a player like Mushi, who played what, like 21 heroes over the course of TI3, the most limited player on a team, right?
There's just 2 or
10
3 heroes he
seconds
doesn't play
remaining.
at all is the thing. Like
No.
there's no Invoker, like doesn't play Invoker at all.
5 seconds remaining.
What are the other? There's one other, 1 or 2 others. I can't remember now. Invoker's the
Reserve
big
time.
one.
Yeah, Invoker is the one big one for his role, I would say.
Yeah, doesn't
there are
play
definitely other
Beastmaster
heroes.
at all, I believe.
Okay.
I think it was Beastmaster because he doesn't actually like have the hockey set up for it, but I could be wrong
Okay.
on that.
Yeah, I know that
DK's turn
I
to
know some
pick.
people that complain about Mushi's tread swapping and stuff like that. Some of the more minor, well, not that sort of minor micro
Yeah.
thing, but you know, we'll call it that. So I guess that's the
He's
one
very
thing that let
stuck
him
in
down.
his
Yeah,
way.
exactly. But he's good enough that he kind of makes up for it, which is the interesting thing. But anyway,
Yeah.
so
The other big news, I mean, I didn't mention it yet now on the actual live stream, it was brought up in
10
the chat, but
seconds
Burning is
remaining.
playing. So
Yes.
I said earlier during the last game that he won't be playing, but that was incorrect,
5
false, so
seconds
I
remaining.
hope not too many people went off betting rares on Newbee under that assumption, because Burning's back. He's apparently, I mean, he's not in
Reserve
perfect
time.
health, but he's healthy enough to be sitting in front of a computer, which is all you really need to be doing right now.
and play a best of one.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah. I mean, when I was sick as a child, like in
Radiant
school or whatever,
team
I was
pick.
always playing video games when I was sick. That was how you recovered, by playing video games, so... I mean, it's a
Exactly,
bit
take your
different when
mind
you're
off of
playing
it.
professionally,
Yeah.
but... yeah. We see DK. I
Okay.
like this because they've got the Lifestealer Storm Spirit combo, like you got the Infest with the Storm. They needed a hero to go with the Wisp, which was going to be a support, which to me, Sanking's great. The other option would have been Eventual Spirit maybe, but I like the Wisp plus Sanking to be here.
10 seconds
Yeah, it's
remaining.
And even Whistler Centaur.
Yeah, exactly. There's a whole bunch of really great
5
heroes to
seconds
relocate
remaining.
into a fight. I mean, most of the time we've gotten used to even support Sand King still getting a pretty
Reserve
quick
time.
blink just because of the sandstorm changes and being able to jungle a little bit
Yeah.
more. But back when it was a bit more difficult for Sand King to get a blink, we saw some teams running the occasional epicenter relocate filling in as a blink dagger. So that could be something that we see DK do here, assuming that the Centaur and everybody else is already in position.
Well, Newbee, one more pick coming their way. They've gone for a Morphling, which typically they run as a safe link farmer, I believe, from recent games. They've only played it once or twice, but I think this will be House
Some teams
Hero,
are running a mid, aren't they? I think EG are running Morphling mid from time to time.
EG and Cloud9 are the two big teams running it, mostly mid. And from talking to them, it seems that the main reason is because when you get that shotgun, you want to have your max adaptive strike. I mean, you basically need to be level 14, so you have all your 3 skills maxed. And that's where if you're in a tri-lane farming, maybe you don't get all the experience you need. And he's actually a pretty good mid. Like, you morph enough agility, you last hit just fine, and you're sitting on low HP, but that's where bottle regen kind of is even more effective. But
he's damn hard to kill as well.
Invoker made it really deep into the draft.
Yeah, that's actually a little bit surprising, especially if you asked me 2 weeks ago, is Invoker going to be 5th pick in aim? I would have been like, no, he's probably going to be first pick, first ban. But priorities have shifted even in the last little bit, and I'm going to keep ranting and raving, and I've been doing it for the last couple of patches. I think we are on some of the best versions that Dota has ever seen, like from a competitive standpoint. It's been great.
Yeah, it's actually I think partly it's still a new version, so teams haven't all really quite figured out what's the most efficient way to play. I mean, you look at like 6.79, and
10
like for a long
seconds
time
remaining.
when it first came out, it was similar to the way people were experimenting, trying lots of things
5
before they finally
seconds
found out
remaining.
what fit best. So it may be too soon to tell, but the last 3 or 4 months have been fantastic for a variety of heroes and just new styles coming out. But I think the biggest thing that I would like to, well, not so much address, but I think there's just too many areas where Radiant have an advantage with the off-lane being better as well as their jungle, and I think that's something which needs some slight tweaking. It's my main gripe right now, as well as Ember Spirit. That hero just, I don't think he's OP, but I just don't. I'm just sick of that hero.
He's a little bit frustrating. Yeah. Fortunately, he hasn't reached absurd levels in competitive. I think he's being picked up more now, but still only by certain teams. So again, it's another one of those heroes where it'll be interesting to see where exactly it goes.
Well, as things stand here, Newbee round things off. Well, they got the AA towards the end here, so was that a last pick Ancient Apparition?
No, they last picked the Invoker. They first picked AA.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, yeah.
Did they? Oh, it was the first pick?
No,
yeah, it was first pick.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah, I think it was AA, and then they took Nyx, and then Clock, and then Morph, and then...
Yeah.
I was a little bit worried when they had the Clockwork and the Nyx, that the Nyx might have been a core, because I think that's what we've been seeing more from the hero recently, and then they would have had a lineup with a Morphling and 2 really gank-oriented cores, and I was a little bit worried that DK could kind of just 5-man through that, even though they have the Wisp.
Yeah.
So, but gonna end up being the support Nyx Assassin, so they're not too heavily oriented off, and they've got a little bit of extra carry power now in the Invoker, who's always relevant late game.
Lamb is off to the races, heading down this bottom lane with boots, tether, movement speed. He wants to get these wards down before Newbee actually get there. He's gonna get there before them, but he will get spotted planting these wards, I imagine, unless they go different directions. It looked like, nope, gets the observer ward down before anyone can really see him do anything at all, so smart play from him. And this is when Newbee come to this bottom tri-lane and probably think there's no ward there, because they rush there and, oh, right at the bat. Was it a sentry? No, okay, he didn't place a sentry. He passed the sentry to his teammate. Gave a sentry to the Clockwork. I saw King J like drop a sentry, and I was like, wait, what? He knew this is coming.
Yeah, so
Okay.
even if from Ice's play they think that he has a ward spotting the supports, there's a very low chance that they're gonna find this one, because most people are gonna place their sentry kind of up here, which sometimes just isn't gonna catch this observer. all the way down here. And as you pointed out, they've only got the one sentry total for this lane now. They shipped the other one off to the off lane with Xiao.
And just from Newbee's point of view, like, they rushed
The
bottom
battle
lane, so they're thinking,
begins.
hey, if DK had got down here to ward, we would have seen them. Like, the fact that the Sand King got there so fast with boots plus the Wisp tether movement speed may not be something they're anticipating. And they've got a lane ward, so they in theory would see anyone coming out to actually plant that ward if it happens later on. But we'll introduce our two teams. We'll also put some Dota 2 sounds on, as I realize there's no Dota 2 sounds playing. And it's going to be DK on the Dire side, Burning playing the Farming Lifestealer, MMY on the Wisp. We've got Lamb playing the Sand King. Mid lane's going to be your Storm Spirit played by Mushi, and in the off lane it's Ice on the Sentinel Warrunner.
And meanwhile, over on Newbee, we've got Banana handling the Nyx Assassin. We've got King J on the Ancient Apparition. Hao is going to be handling the Morphling down on bot. We've got Moo heading towards mid on Invoker, kind of looking like a QE build for the time being. I guess we'll see where that goes. And we've got Xiao as the offlane Clockwork.
I think I'd just lean more towards the Q. Well, I think QW is maybe slightly better just because of like the relocate scene. You need to go very defensive against this. I think QE will just get punished by aggressive ganks like Lifestealer and Fest Bombs, Wisp relocates. QE Invoker just won't survive this game.
Yeah, well, I think I'm with you there, but I'm just judging by the item build for now. Most of the time, QW is going to end up going for your really early phase boots, but this Null Talisman, to me, is a little bit more QE-esque. But we'll see what Moo does. I guess we'll keep an eye on it. I agree with you, though. I think Quaswex is probably the go here. Good counter initiation, stall the game, go from there.
Yeah. You're pretty big on the EMP being absolutely ridiculous. I've seen you play Invoker non-stop.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely guilty of running a whole lot of Invoker in pubs. The hero's just... The EMP is disgusting, it really is.
Now he's off to a good start. Oh, he's actually not up to the best start. Mushi's already hit 9 creeps in this mid lane, so he's farming pretty well here. Look towards Ice. He's going to be checking this 2-minute rune, getting harassed from the high ground though. That's where the return kicks in. King J almost takes as much damage as he dishes out, and Ice secures the rune, grabs a double damage. Not that he's going to be able to use this anywhere really whatsoever, but hey, the knight from Newbee.
Things just pretty passive on the whole for the time being. Both sets of supports just kind of pulling. Both offlaners getting reasonable experience as well. And I almost feel like DK actually kind of need to be the first team to make a move in this game. Just because I think with heroes like Centaur and Storm Spirit, you don't just want to be sitting around and farming through the mid game. I'd really like to start making some plays if at all possible.
They kind of need to wait for their level 6s to some extent to do that, I guess. Like, you get Mushi level 6 maybe. He's actually getting a lot of harass under his tower, but even like your Sand King, he needs a few levels before he can roam. With Sand King, I mean, Wisp is similar story. Wisp is doing his trademark, stack all the camps in the world. He's stacking both these 2 camps at the same time. Oh man, this is just... Actually misses one of the stacks, unfortunately, but this is just like... This guy's just a master of throw in the jungle.
Yeah, and I guess that's going to end up being just a really fast blink for the Sand King. Maybe they'll give some to Ice, and Ice actually in a lot of trouble bottom lane.
Dire's top tower is under
They go
attack.
down here with the bonus damage from the chilling touch. Ice is getting very low. One more right click. The first blood goes to Hao as well.
Radiant's bottom
Perfect
tower
execution.
Xiao jump top lane as well. Burst strike comes in, down will go.
Slightly later though. So first blood goes to Newbee. In the end of that second kill there, but DK, the trial getting a kill here is definitely useful for them. The other thing they can do with this stack is have Mushi come in and farm it with Remnant, but that's a bit trickier because he does have to tank quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, overall they have ways to farm it. It should just be a nice bit of experience in gold for DK. And I'm with you 100%. I think that we're not going to be seeing movements until we have those level 6s up and whatnot, but I think even if Newbee gets some okay levels, there's not too much incentive to do anything. And MMY in trouble.
MMY getting worse. He's dead. The Rast right click will chase him down. The Tornado not even going to be needed, and that Rocket Flare helped secure the kill there. So nice awareness from Xiao throwing the Rocket Flare from top lane. Meanwhile, bottom lane, they kind of want to go on Ice again, but he's got an Invis rune this time around. That was a 4-minute rune, and doesn't look like Newbee actually... They don't have any rune vision at the moment. Have their wards... Have they been entirely dewarded here, or...?
There's no wards in inventories, so it looks like they must have been.
Just going to leech a bit of this experience here at the bottom lane. May even steal the last hit. We'll do so with a hoof stomp, being as annoying as possible in this off lane. typical Ice fashion.
Did he just reveal that smoke as well? Is that a smoke? I think it was. Wow.
I did not get that. Okay.
Yeah, so
did they
Ice
smoke
was
after
just
he
kind
hook
of...
stomped, or?
Yeah, so he was just over here, and the supports decided that, okay, we're just down here, we're gonna go for a smoke.
Oh.
And he revealed it immediately, so that's a big loss for Newbee.
They knew he was
yeah,
there,
exactly.
too.
He was there like a second ago.
Just... Well,
Yeah.
that's a bit unusual from Newbee, but we're going to see some support rotations now towards the mid lane. Sankin gets scouted from the high ground by Xiaowei. Doesn't actually have battery assault here, so probably not going to see too much here. Maybe he's going to have to use some spells here to save Xiaowei. The MP goes down, the tornado. Is it actually up? It does have it now, and we're going to look at its sun going through here. Xiaowei in a bit of trouble. Mushi zips to the high ground. Great tornado catches up two heroes. Mushi low on mana. He's got a full bottle charge to heal himself back up. MMY got low as well. Really nicely timed tornado. He held that one a long time just to make sure Xiaowei was going to be okay.
Yeah, so a bunch of kind of failed gank on either side. Though I guess Newbee ended up not going quite so far for theirs. So maybe their advantage overall.
So the big stack was farmed by. You see,
I didn't catch that. Is he okay?
Stack now.
Okay, he's fine.
Just
barely.
But I'm guessing it was maybe the Sankin's got 900 gold, so I'm guessing he farmed that big stack that was there before. And Lamb gonna get himself probably like a level 5 as well as he could get a fast arcane boots, but we've been seeing a lot of blink rushes on Sankin, kind of getting the arcane boots later on.
Yeah, I'm actually a really big fan of just going the straight blink, honestly.
Yeah. You get it like 8-9 minutes in. It's like kind of like a bat rider in the jungle in a lot of ways, except you're a full position hero.
Exactly. And, well, it should be big opportunity for DK to make plays as well. Once they have that up. Everyone's just kind of farming for the time being, not a whole lot of movement. I think there's a new smoke over on the Newbee supports. Yeah, there's one on the courier, so they might try and make a move. But again, Mushi's already reached level 7, so he's a little bit difficult to gank. Burning's always going to be tough, just because they've only got really one solid stun right now. So we might just see them continue to farm up for the time being.
MMY continuing to stack as well. Like this is one of those. I guess this is one of. I was talking about how earlier on how Radiant has all these advantages. This is definitely a dire advantage, at least for a hero like Wisp or any hero that can cut down these trees. Being able to stack both these two camps at once, and it's going to give them just a lot of split between their supports right now, with Stankin getting most of that.
And I think this is pretty much the source of their lead right now. They have a minor golden experience lead, and that's pretty much just from the jungle. Everything else is very even.
Burning and Howl pretty much trading farm for farm right now. The Storm and Invoker pretty similar CSs as well. So yeah, Sanking the leading farmers as support. Clockwork's only level 3, and that to me is a bit of a worry. Like, your Centaur can level a bit slowly, get starved a bit, and make more of a comeback, but you want to get that hookshot online as fast as possible, generally speaking. I think that's the big concern for Newbee right now, is his Clock getting next to nothing out of the offlane, and it's really hard because Lifestealer just matches up pretty well against Clockwork once you get your phase boots up, because you can just use the Rage if you get trapped with him and just kind of bring him down, and he hasn't even got battery assault for this lane.
Yeah, Joed is definitely a touch under-leveled. I think part of that was because he copped a lot of harassment when he revealed that gank mid, so he had to head all the way back to the fountain. But yeah, we'll see what kind of impact he ends up having this game, because you're right, if he doesn't have that level 6, he can't be hiding off the map, he can't be setting up ganks. And the Centaur, once he gets 6, he's quite happy to just sit in a lane and help somebody on the other side of the map out with Stampede. So that's the big difference here. Ice can almost afford to be farming in the mid game. You can't say the same for the Clockwork at all.
Yeah. Clock is their tempo controller. He's the one who's going to be getting them kills and basically counter-ganking in the mid game. Like, Invokers can to some extent, but he needs that Clockwork to kind of partner with him. For Centaur, he doesn't have to carry that weight on his own. He's got a Sanking on his side, he's got a Storm Spirit, not to mention a Lifestealer who can actually come to fights early on, and that's where I feel DK have a bit of an edge over Newbee, because Morthling's not really a good hero to fight with early on compared to a Lifestealer. If this Lifestealer needs to, he'll infest in the Storm, he'll TP to another lane, he'll come to these fights.
Yeah, and How's already kind of going for a slightly more late-game oriented build. Some people leave it as a casual Ring of Health for a while and do still rush the shotgun, but I get the feeling that we might just be seeing a Lincoln Sphere come out here.
He's scouting things out. Saw the AA as well as the Morphling here. Can't really kill this Morphling at all. He's hoping maybe to find the AA poked up. And meanwhile, top lane, it looks like Clockwork. He's trying to just push Burning out of this lane. The Nyx Assassin is nearby. They haven't actually scouted him out as far as I can tell. And they'll maybe hoping for Lamb to come in from behind with a Burrow Strike. He's level 5 with the Arcane Boots, but he's going to go back to his own jungle, it looks like. And that's all for now.
Yeah, still just a very passive, pretty farmy game, but I think that leaves the Clockwork really stranded. Unfortunately, if he gets left behind, he was already a bit questionable, as far as impact is concerned for the late game. So we'll see what Jiawei can do. Even if he only manages to farm up a 4-staff, he's still pretty impactful in just dealing with the Lifestealer, kiting him around in fights, and the Nyx is the bulk of DK's damage, so he's still got things he can accomplish.
I feel that the passive gameplay right now you talk about is definitely much more beneficial for Newbee because they're not ready to fight. Like, you don't have any levels on your Clockwork, and you also don't have the AA Ice Blast. Those to me are the two almost key spells they're waiting for. Not to mention Invoker, he benefits a lot from getting more time to level up. DK need to be getting kills right now, or at least need to be applying pressure, because with an under-leveled Clockwork and a Morphling you can't really fight, not to mention AA with no ulti, like, this is time for DK to punish this Newbee roster, Newbee lineup.
Yeah, and Armlet just acquired for Burning as well. Yeah, so he's at the peak of his power for the next couple of minutes. This is a really big timing window for DK to use.
And they'll even get Center up to his level 6 now. He's got a decent chunk of experience under his tower bottom lane. He's got Stampede, so DK have a huge edge for at least the next minute or two, which is where I'd love to see them at least get more active on this map right now. They're trying to. Like, Mushi's roaming around. He's just not finding the openings. Newbee are just kind of playing cautiously enough all over the map.
Yeah, they're just kind of sitting in duo lanes, sitting under their towers, taking farm from the wave.
There's an epicenter for this one. They may look to use it. There's another zip here. No way from up and out. He's morphing to Strings here. Centaur stop. They'll use the epicenter maybe if they have to. 2 heroes done. Epicenter fall. They're going to look to bring down King J at the epicenter, but that leaves How well and truly alive. He's get a waveform that's not going to actually land on Lamb. If that waveform hits, Lamb would have been dead there. Tornado comes through. Lamb still in all sorts of trouble. Another Fire Strike out. He's not going to survive though. The EMP from Moon not really on point here. Eyesight size. He's now on the run, but he'll get out of there safely.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
The bottom lane, but that gives burning space at top to get a tier 1 tower, and that was a lot of heroes that Newbee had to rotate defensively. Although, I mean, end of the day, the Morphling stays alive, which is the big thing.
Yeah, Morphling How showing off just how difficult it is to gank a Morphling at pretty much any stage of the game. And this is pre-Linken's. This is before he's blocking no Vortex or a Burrow Strike or
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Or even an open wounds, I guess, at some point. But yeah, Newbee just going to continue farming up. Burning grabbed that tier 1 tower top lane, so well, we'll see. I think pretty even overall, minor advantage to DK, but they've just got to keep the pressure up. They'll have the Blink Dagger on the Sand King super soon as well, and they've got their first relocate online, so expect DK to get aggressive.
Newbee have their hookshot up now, so I mean, that's probably as big as getting this relocate up. Both teams will probably be very wary of these counter initiation potential, and always got to worry about this EMP Invoker. Where if DK get too overly aggressive, they'll have their mana sapped and just suddenly be unable to fight in these clashes, especially if they're under an enemy tower. They'll get punished quite heavily, but Newbee still need to get King J up his level 6. There's still no Ice Blast on the playing field.
Yeah, the 2 supports are still struggling a little bit. Banana's just grabbed level 5, AA level 4.5, but he's got some time mid lane, so that should be his 6, hopefully pretty soon. And I'm just noticing Jiawei with the Poverty build. He's got Boots of Speed, 2 Bracers, and a Magic Wand. Yeah.
I saw the first and thought, okay, like a casual Bracer, that's normal. Double Bracer.
Yeah, this is like, I know I'm behind, so I'm gonna build Bracers.
Sand King has a Blink Dagger already. Like, I mean, sure, it's 14 minutes, you can get it fast without the Arcane Boots, but that's really where DK are ahead. Their support farm and levels is so much better. We're gonna see a gank from the Morphling up on the lane. Not from shot. Doesn't actually hit. It hit a creep, an ally creep at that. Then Morphling's gonna go down. Well, looks like DK could look for some more here. The relocate in, and Mushi looking to get the second kill here. Clockwork on the run, he's under his own tower here. Mushi with a decent chunk of mana, but decides not to go for the kill. Didn't want to overly commit to that one, especially with the Wisp relocate ending. He goes back towards the mid lane, and DK get a kill on the Morphling. That's a good pick off. That Clockwork though, missing the hook shot. That was...
Yeah.
That was
I love the
painful.
way that DK approached that, though. They're like, well, it's really difficult to kill Morphling with 3 heroes, so we'll just bring 5 and make sure that it happens. So, props to them.
Yeah.
We've been seeing a lot of their, this Wisp coordination from them recently. They've been doing very well with it.
It's not too big of a loss, because Wisp only has to relocate there for 10 seconds, and he's back to another lane, can take whoever he brings with him, so you're not missing out that much on farm time, and Newbee don't have a lineup which is really going to punish other lanes by pushing. They've got no pushing heroes. Oh, he's been just brought down, and that's another kill going the way of House, so even though he dies there, he immediately picked up a kill on return, and that's not something you really want to be doing to House. This just buys more time for Newbee to farm up this Lincoln Sphere, which House really needs.
Yeah, I just got caught out by the tornado into a cold snap. Follow-up stun from the next assassin. Really easy kill there for Newbee.
The Blink epicenter this bottom lane, but Newbee, they're not committing to any sort of a push or anything along those lines. They'll just back off, back to farming. King J hits level 6, and as soon as he does, he leaves the top lane so someone else can take it, or at least wants to join up with his team. And nice blast on their side. Definitely see Newbee being much scarier now, especially if they can land a hook shot into a cogs and lock someone in place to set up that A ultimate. Take too much damage from an EMP tornado. Actually dodges the EMP.
Is under attack.
Ninja's ring going to spawn bottom, which is picked up by Zhao Wei, but he's still just level 6. As a solo off lane, like at 16 minutes in, this is incredibly underleveled.
Yeah, and absolutely nobody's taking advantage of this farm on the off lane. I mean, you mentioned that King J was just there grabbing his level 6, but he's just kind of been wandering the map since. And I mean, we praised DD last game.
It feels like Zhao Wei should be there.
Yeah, somebody should definitely be securing that little bit of farm. If Newbee are all just gonna sit as 4 behind the Morphling, then DK are just gonna pull ahead in terms of farm and be quite happy with it as well.
The hero levels is where I really worry for Newbee. Like, they've got like 4k gold difference, which is surmountable. It's not too big of a problem. Like, you've still got to farm Morphling, but the experience, it's a 3,000 difference, but the hero levels really show that. You've only got just level 6 on 3 of your heroes. Meanwhile, DK have like level 8 on their offlane, level 8 on the Sand King, and that to me makes just a big difference in how strong these DK heroes are. Not as much as the items, it's the level.
Yeah, and DK always have that advantage of just having the Wisp, so somebody can be off farming, be off split pushing, and always be ready to attend the fights. So it makes life that much more difficult for Newbee. If they're split up, then they're just going to be relocate ganked, storm ganked, Sand King ganked, you name it, DK can kill you with it. But if they stay grouped up, they're just gonna, well, they're gonna lose the farm war, at least in the short term. I think they've still got really solid late game, however.
They've just been 5-man bottom lane for a good 2 minutes almost now, and they, like you say, they're just getting out farmed, out leveled, and their late game's not too bad, but they've got to get there, and if they're getting under level, they're not going to really reach that point. You can't have a full protect once, is what I feel in the late game scenario. They need to have 2-3 heroes with solid farm to actually be able to take this in the late game.
Dire's structures are fortified.
He want bottom tower, can he pressure down? Does get flipped up here. Burning just on the front line. He goes on Banana, who does have level 6, does have Vendetta, 4-staffed away. Nice little pickup from Moo. It looks like the Stormspirit's going to take a big tower. Burton's just solo defending this. He's going to infest into a creep, and he's got the backup of a Sand King epicenter. Not quite the epicenter that Sand King land was looking for. The Stampede can be used defensively. Burning goes down to an Ice Blast, and with that, this T1 bottom tower will take a fall. DK kind of just bit of a poor defense of this bottom tower. I think they're just trying to be a bit too cute there with Burning, trying to bait people into a Lamb epicenter, but Newbee kind of just position themselves well enough that they don't overcommit to that.
It could have been really nice for DK had that worked out, but I think they read what Burning was doing. They're like, oh yeah, he's got Radiant creeps here. If we damage him too much, he's just going to jump in and away he'll go. So they didn't really overcommit, and DK end up being punished a little bit for it. Lose the kill, lose the tier 1. They did end up grabbing the tier 1 mid. So, bit of an exchange going their way there.
And that's Storm with an Orchid now too. I'm not sure if, he just got the tower. He may have had the Orchid already regardless, but he needs to be getting, I guess that's where your Newbee at 5-manning, that's where Storm is not all too effective. He does not want to be kind of dipping into 5-man type life. He's going to take a lot of damage at mid lane. Does have a regen rune. Luckily, the EMP not actually landing on him there. for now. Time just being bought by Newbee, and it looks like, is this the Lincoln Sphere coming? Yeah, Lincoln Sphere 19 minutes in, so not too shabby from Hal.
Yeah, the morph still doesn't really kill anyone at this point, though, unless he manages to sit around in a fight, finds an opportunity to kind of gently massage some people
Radiant's
to death,
bottom
because
tower
he's
is
not
under
really
attack.
right-clicking that hard for the moment. And I think this is a big opportunity for DK. They've just got the mech over on the Centaur, so this could be a time to start forcing some fights, try and gain some more ground if they can.
Bottom line. So Grimshi forced a zip TP. The tornado not going to land, luckily for him. That tornado lands, suddenly he's got himself a big problem as far as actually escaping. And there we go, you talked about it. DK, they've got the mech timing. They smoke up, they infest the lifesteal into land tank, and pretty much one fine with Blink Dance. Should be fairly easy prey here. Then takes another blink himself before they're gonna get the blink stun. It's good. Oh, they missed the stun! The Stampede gets used to slow
Dire's
move,
middle
but
tower
he's
is
just gonna
under
go
attack.
for this one. There's no actual detection amongst these three heroes. This is not the way they envisioned this one going. They're not gonna lose anyone, but bit of a time investment. And also the ulti from the Centaur being used as well.
Radiant's bottom tower
Bit of an
is
oversight
under
not to
attack.
bring any anti-invis against the Clawswex in
I
Radiant's
guess they thought they
bottom
could just
tower
burst him
is
down
falling.
in the blink stun with the infest. Three heroes, it works out fine, but when you miss the virus back, then you're in all sorts of trouble.
So they get the tier 1, now the question is, can they hold their tier 1s? Looks like they should be fine. Newbee not really in a position to threaten too much.
They aren't that scary looking right now, but once we look towards Invoker's Hex, and that's going to be around the same time Morphling gets Ethereal Blade, that's where I feel Newbee are going to be pretty fighting fit, and that's where DK have to worry a bit about what they can actually do in a team fight. They have got the
Radiant's
great gank
bottom
potential, and that's where I
tower
feel they
is
just
under
look to
attack.
use infest gank after infest
Dire's
gank.
top tower
Don't try
is
to take
under
head-on
attack.
fights against a Morphling with an Ethereal Blade and an Invoker with a Hex, although that's still about 4 or 5 minutes away. Burning's being caught out. He's going to go down at the top lane. Newbee just finds another pickoff, and that's Moo with his force
Dire's
unanswered
top
kill
tower
here. He's
has
actually
fallen.
Moo's having a fantastic game on this Invoker.
Yeah, he's playing very well, and just doing exactly what Invoker needs to do in this game, which is counter gank, farm, and in general, kind of slow down the pace of the game, which he's doing well.
Burning maybe just not as fit as he needs to be. I mean, he still is having he still is slightly unwell. He had a lung infection apparently, I think is what was reported.
Wow.
And imagine having a lung infection in China, like so polluted there. That would just be the worst thing ever.
Yeah, and I think the one thing to talk about with Burning getting caught out up on the top side of the map there is that there's always this feeling with Lifestealer that, oh, look, they don't really have any way to cancel my Rage TP, so if I'm caught, you know, I should be okay. But the way that Newbee set up that gank is they had the Ice Blast already coming in, Banana hit the burst, they'll hit the Impale out of Invis, and Burning just had no chance to react at all, so...
Yeah.
But DK, undeterred, just gonna load up the Lifestealer one more time and seemingly go for this same gank down into the Radiant jungle.
Well, nothing spotting them out just yet. This Radiant Observer is nearby, and they must... I mean, they'll probably expect there to be a ward around that area, so I don't think they'll just go running down river into the Radiant jungle with 2 heroes. That's kind of a bit of a suicide mission almost. But now Lamb maybe just kind of posturing around the mid lane, waiting for someone to show up. But it's top lane. Then they found Banana. It looks like Banana's going to be a pretty easy pickoff for DK.
They were trying to line
on the
up.
Storm Spirit.
Yeah, they were trying to line up another
Dire's
Ice
bottom tower
Blast
is under attack.
Vendetta gank, but
okay.
Mushi, I think, sniffed it out and managed to get out of the way, so it just ended up being a free kill for DK there.
Sentry there helping them out for that one, and for now I think it's still looking for Newbee. They're actually going to see a bit of a clash at bottom lane. It's Hal who does a lot of damage, but just going to TP himself home, and got his Ghost Scepter up. He's got 1300 gold, and top lane. There's going to be another jump. This time Mushi going to go Moo, and Moo, he's going to fall with the help of the Orchid. That's not too difficult of a kill, and this is where DK, they have no interest in grouping up as 5 like Newbee have done for a lot of this game. They're just going to be constantly split with these basically 2 separate gank squads. You've got Mushi with the Wisp, and then you've got the like Lifestealer infesting in the Sand King or infesting in the Centaur with the Blink Daggers. And if there's ever a big 5v5 fight, or those 3 heroes run into a 5v5 fight, they can relocate in. So They've just got so many openings to find kills and find games. And, well, here's another one. It's How on the North Flank. He's going to get caught out. There is a relocate this time. Not commit 5 heroes to killing off How. Can they even do it? He's staying alive a long, long time, but not quite long enough. And DK kill off the Morphling. They may go for Roshan here. They leave Mushi bottom, so this is, yeah, DK going to get Roshan. They're going to get the Aegis on their side now.
Should be pretty straightforward. Yeah, they know it's happening, but the question is, can they stop it?
Moo's not TPing. I mean, he's only 2 TP2. He's probably...
Ice Blast in 5 seconds.
No.
Let's see. Yeah, Tornado EMP coming in.
They're killing this too slowly. Doesn't worry. Burning may just straight up die. He's being bashed as well by Roche. Burning's dead. He's killed by Roshan. Mushi may die as well. The Ice Blast, no, it doesn't tick him over. Oh, the Rocket Blade gets it!
Under attack.
What a disaster.
Well, that was awful.
I can hold Landworm for a Blink Epicenter. He doesn't have mana for the Sun. He gets it now thanks to the Wisp, I think, actually tethering him up, and he's going to get 1 kill on the next Assassin. Can he get Moo? Get the Ancient Apparition. They lose their 2 core heroes, but they go in with the supports, and, well, the supports get the job done. Oh, where's the hook shot? Actually doesn't hit too much. What did he actually hit with
Who's
that
actually going to get Roshan? Not sure. But looks...
I
what's
just
going
heard the
on
hook animation, and then he landed on something with DK. I just actually Sibling Dagger as well. He's going to go and move. The double edge should finish him off. He's still got the Invoker. Lifesteal is respawning in a couple of seconds. How taking a lot of damage here. Starting to morph the Spring here. He okay, needs it. Maybe go home, but he's going to pick up Ice. Then he replicates out, so... Get himself maybe back towards his own base, but he needs to stay around the Roche pit. Roche is low. Meanwhile, Lifesteal Burning's gone back in. Nice Tornado coming out from Moo. Creating some space here. Moo has to buy back for this one, though, and that's where they really want to make sure DK don't get this Aegis. Roshan's low Rocket Flare. Gonna go Flying Scatter. Just how low Roshan is. MMY actually trapped in the pit. Watch out from Roche. I can't believe that Ice Blast onto Roshan where they killed off Lifestealer and Storm Spirit worked. Like, it was so obvious by that point. Well, at least, I mean, to us, sure, we can see it all, but even for, I feel like, a team like DK, they should have been able to tell they were just taking too long to kill off Roshan and just backed off a little bit.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, by that point, they were already committed to try and finish it. They just overestimated the damage a bit. Nice Tornado.
Great Tornado. Oh, Bob doing a regret going into this one. The Lifesteal is there waiting inside Ice. They kill him by Ice though, and they actually get out of the cog here. Clockwork's going to go down with the help of a Virus Sack. Mushi's meanwhile zipped his way in. He's out of mana though, thanks to a mana burn. Mushi's going to go down. DK have lost 2 here. Possibly more as Morphling waves himself in looking for MMY. Doesn't have quite enough damage to get the kill. He actually replicates back by the looks of things, and maybe get themselves another decent trade here. They lose 2, but they kill off key heroes in the Storm Spirit especially, as well as the Centaur Warrunner.
Yeah, that was just beautiful, stopping DK's initiation. The plan was Mushi jumps in as Ice is stampeding and blinking in for a stomp, but he got caught by the Tornado, he got caught by the hookshot, he got caught by the cogs. And Mushi kind of ended up in the middle of no man's land because he was expecting the rest of his team to be stampeding in with him, but cogs was a big problem. So we were a little bit worried what kind of game is Xiaowei gonna have after a bit of a shaky start, but showing that he can definitely still have an impact. And he's managed to farm up the mech as well. He's ditched one of those bracers, so inventory is looking a little bit healthier.
Been solid. I was a bit worried when he hooked on the Centaur, because like Lifestealer inside the cogs with a Clockwork is never fun for Clockwork, but I think his teammates maybe forced him out of there, and then after that Lifestealer like doesn't really do a whole lot in the fight, so DK still posturing around Roshan. A bit of a standoff been going on around this Roshan pit for quite some time. Of Newbee not really in position right now to instantly contest this, but they're smoked up. They'll probably make their way over there, especially with the Rocket player scouting this one out. DK, surely they don't make the same mistake. They're going to get hit by the AI plus, but they're still pretty healthy. Here, Tornado goes through, catches a couple of these heroes. Nix and Pale as well, Birdie getting very low here. He catches out 2, they get the kill on Lifestealer as well as Storm Spirit. A few animations missing out here. Land pops an Epicenter, but the mech on the Newbee side heals everyone up, and Burning can't really fight this. Even with the buyback, they don't have Storm Spirit. They don't have Epicenter. Could be Roshan going Newbee's way here. We're going to see an open wound going on the Clockwork. He gets forced out the way, and that's Rage on cooldown. Roshan goes Newbee's way. Bolt just helping zone people out here. Centaur thinks about going in with a Stampede, but bit of a disaster for DK.
Yeah, everything about Roshan was just terrible for DK. At the end of it all.
DK were doing just fine. If Roshan didn't exist, DK would be doing so much better right now. Everything that's gone wrong this game has come from the Roshan bit.
Yeah, if we look at the situation that they were in before they decided to head into Roche, right after they got that relocate gank down in the Morphling, things were looking sweet. It was, it was looking like a pretty easy ride for DK through the mid game. But Newbee, by taking a really prolonged fight, they get Roshan, they get the Aegis, they've got those big items now up as well. Moo's getting very close to that Hex, and we saw the shotgun come out in the last fight as well. And Morphling is now starting to get really scary. So we'll see what DK can do. I mean, it's taken them 5 heroes up until this point to kill him once. So the Morphling with an Aegis is going to be a pretty big stumbling block for them.
This is a painful Morphling, and DK are learning the lesson the hard way that you do not force Roshan against a team with AA plus blockwork. Like, that to me is just a big card here. And yeah, we're now doing some dueling around the Roshan as well. They put down the invoke. I think, yeah, the AA bought the gem. I don't think the Dire side have a gem of their own. They got lots of Sensual to the Wisp, and at this point in the game, things get pretty tricky for DK to take a fight. With an Aegis shotgun Morphling, this is just not at all an appealing idea for them.
And before DK had the clear advantage in team fights, and Newbee were just kind of wandering around the map hoping not to get picked off, but now they know that they have the advantage as far as team fights are concerned, and they're just forcing it. Gonna start taking some towers, more gold in their pockets, and DK could only really split push at the moment.
They want to split push or try find some like solo kills, like where they get like Storm Spirit and the Lytila involved, just kill a hero who's by themselves, get out quickly. But Newbee are pretty clever. They're probably well aware that DK are going to try to do that, and they're not going to present any kills easily for DK to get. And as it stands, Morphling, one of the heroes that can go off on his own, not risk really getting picked off too much, and pushes out the top lane. He looks to regroup with his team, and they can just go for this next T2 tower, possibly at the mid lane if they want to.
And DK can't punish Newbee at all for being split up and farming because they don't know how split up they are. We've got this gem on the Invoker, DK have one lone ward on the map, and just because of that, DK can't really take advantage of what was their strength all the way through the early game, which was the Storm Spirit pickoffs, the Sand King pickoffs, the Wisp pickoffs. That was really fueling them, and now they have no idea who's safe to gank, and at the moment all they can really do is farm.
Got 3 minutes on the Aegis though, so at this point they just want to buy time. Like you say, try and farm. Maybe once the Aegis is worn off, they try and go back to the strategy of finding those pickoffs and ganks without having to worry about an Aegis on Morphling, but as it stands, things are just very dicey. Long range hook shot from downtown to Jiaowei. He's going to catch him out of the fog. There's potentially a relocate. Relocate actually gets cancelled by the cold push, looks like. There's no relocate. Burning out trying to TP out. Can he actually do so? He's that base. Is the Ice Blast on him? He may shatter here. Doesn't do so. That was close. I think relocate got cancelled by the Cogs push.
Yeah, if you stun Wisp while he's winding up, it stops.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what happened.
That was the slight. It's like kind of MMY play doesn't often make those like Wisp. For DK, they get out.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
But burning just survived that one.
Yeah, I think the only thing you could have done to stop that happening would have been to walk up and then tether at a closer range, so he wouldn't have been dragged into it. But yeah, otherwise, I'm not sure. And then if he'd done that, he might not have been able to get it off in time. Though it turns out, in the end, didn't even need to relocate to survive. So
Dire's structures are fortified. Radiant's bottom tower.
Morphling picks up a BKB now. He is well on his way. I mean, he's already well on top of the farm charts here. Net worth 3,000 over the Storm Spirit, 7,000 over the Lifesteal. This is where burning is just not looking that scary. All these heroes just kite him around, and even if it was like had an extra 3,000-4,000 gold or another item, he'd still be getting kited around. At this point in the game, burning's just not a threat to Newbee, it feels like.
Double damage!
Yeah, they got some pickoffs, but I feel like burning never really started snowballing, and DK didn't manage to take down any tier 2s while they were, in a firm lead 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So gold that you might expect them to have just isn't there.
And it's all from the side of the vine. Yeah. Roshan was the undoing of DK this game, and that's a team on the dire side. Normally it's the other way around, where you're just losing games because the other team just keeps sneaking these cheap, easy Roshans, but DK have had no such luck.
I feel like this is really similar to a game that DK played just the other day, which was, it wasn't a disastrous Roshan fight,
Against
but
Dreamtime?
yeah, they took a disastrous fight bot, and then they ended up behind for
Luci's just destroyed. The Hex on the Invoker coming out means they can gank anyone on this map. They're maybe not done here. This assassin doesn't have the blink dagger. Went for a Ghost Scepter instead, which is probably a reasonable choice against a Lifestealer. ISIS's gonna blink down bottom. What is he thinking here? He's on his own. He doesn't have blink. The hookshot's actually much further back. That was with the Nyx assassin. They sniped the Wisp here, and ISIS better be careful. If he pokes his head out, they may spawn it.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
They see him. Do they actually look to go for him? Doesn't look like it. They're gonna go for tier 2 mid and possibly even the tier 3. Altus on the high ground. That gets a rep hit for
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
escape burn. Start chipping away on this tier 3. This behind a shot on life.
Dire's middle tower is under
It's all
attack.
sided raid. Use it and
Radiant's top tower
suddenly
is
it
under
becomes a little
attack.
trickier for him. He can range and focus down, or he can just I click even tier 3. Oh, there's the Hex coming in. Burning may just break her down. Burning gets saved by a blows up. He just is there, but he doesn't actually have a blink. Burrow break in. DK taking a lot of damage. The AI plus will land perfectly on 3 heroes. DK's just gonna melt everyone. Just hit the ball on Newbee's. It's too late. DK have already lost the fight. Banana taking a lot of damage. It looks like there's a buyback from the Lifestealer. Possibly the last hope for DK. Morphin's still alive. Bit low on HP and mana, but he's morphed a lot to strength here. He's still alive. Icewall gets dropped to cover the retreat, and Burning, load by the Icewall. He just can't do anything.
Dire's middle tower is
3
under
towers
attack.
barely alive. It may go down to the siege creep, not quite. End of the day, DK get destroyed in their own base, force out a Lifestealer buyback, and all they get is a Nyx assassin.
Mushi got pulled out of that fight by MMY with full HP, half mana, and a few seconds left on his BKB.
No.
So I feel like that might have been one more kill that DK might have been able to secure, especially with Burning making his way back into the fight. But yeah, he was still tethered to Mushi as he was trying to make his way out. So that ends up costing DK pretty big there. And Newbee, not really any big losses. What, they lost the Nyx assassin, who they don't really mind losing. They've got a lot of damage in the tier 3, and things are looking good.
They can wait for the next Roshan if they really want to. That was without an Aegis as well, so they can look for a pick off and then push. Pick then push, and just keep on rinse repeat. And even without a pick off, the shotgun morphling just allows them to kind of push high ground because he just spams it on the closest target, which is generally the Lifestealer. You get him down low and he can't engage, and these fights just going to get more and more difficult. AA building towards an Aghanim Scepter, and even without the Aghanim Scepter, he's going to have the level 2 ulti, which actually adds quite a decent amount of damage. At this stage of the game, the 10% to 11% shatter range, not to mention quite a bit of extra damage. Hookshot on the high ground, it's going to be an engagement on the DK team. 2-3 heroes caught out by the Ice Blast, Lamb in all sorts of trouble on the side. Meanwhile, Burn just gets right click down. They lose both Lifestealer and Stormthreat. Lamb actually survived there. Stormthreat in the middle of things just gets destroyed, and Burning GG's out. At this point,
Dire's
there was
middle
nothing that
tower
could be
is
done.
under attack.
Denthor
Dire's
goes down on the
middle
line with the help of the
tower
Observer Ward, and okay. Oh, we said it now. Okay, I think right, oh, yeah. Basically, decides what this is going to be. Newbee finished second, okay. DK will get hurt, and in 4th place, I believe, is LGD, because they beat BG Gaming. So even if BG Gaming win their last game today, which is against Tong Fu, doesn't matter.